Chatters, chatties, welcome home for a Great American Chat, a podcast where we chat about great American media. I'm Chad Maurice, and today we are chatting about A Vintage Christmas, which is the second movie in the Great American Christmas lineup. Before we get into that, though, I have to say there have been a couple of schedule changes to the Great American Christmas movie schedule. They rearranged two of the movies. Coupled Up for Christmas, which was supposed to be the last movie to air on December 22nd, has now been moved to Saturday, November 9th. So we're going to get to see that one pretty soon. And the movie that was supposed to premiere on November 9th has now been moved to December 22nd, and that is A Royal Christmas Ballet. So that's going to be the final movie of the season. So let's get into A Vintage Christmas. This one premiered Saturday, October 19th, stars Merritt Patterson and Christopher Russell, directed by Colin Buds, written by Jennifer Snow, who also wrote Christmas in Maple Hills, which is one of the movies from last year. The synopsis says Tessa is a dedicated historian in her hometown of Oak Creek. Sparks fly when a business developer, Noah, arrives with plans to tear down an abandoned post office and replace it with a sleek, modern office complex. There are internal and external struggles among many in the community to arrive at a solution that serves the greater good for all concerned. As the clock ticks towards Christmas, the race to settle the dispute through concessions and compromise is on. So here is our cast of characters for this one. We have Tessa. She is the town historian. We have Noah. He's the big bad man of business who's in town to tear down the post office. Darla is the town librarian, and she is a friend of Tessa's. Brad is Noah's co-worker. And then we have Kim, who is the coffee shop Nazi. So the movie starts off on Christmas Eve, 1991, in Oak Creek, outside the post office. We can see the shot of the outside of the post office there in that picture in the upper left corner. But inside the post office, we see young Tessa jealously watching a blonde girl ring a bell at midnight to signify the beginning of the Christmas season. She is wishing she was the one ringing the bell. Her grandfather says, "Maybe next year, Tessa." So I love all the kids in this opening scene. I like the way they have them dressed in the red and green. This scene was very Christmassy. I really like this opening, how this movie started. Then we go to the present day. Noah tries to get coffee in a coffee shop. Kim, the coffee shop Nazi, says, "No coffee for you. We are out." You see, she won't serve him because he is the bad man of business who's in town to tear down the beloved post office. Well, at least the post office that Tessa loves. I don't really know how the townsfolk feel about it. Tessa is now an adult who wears 19th century clothing. She is waiting for an email from the National Registry of Historical Places because she wrote to them to get the post office classified as a historical landmark. Tessa gives a tour of some historic house and then attends a town meeting. Noah gives a speech at this meeting to try to convince the townsfolk that destroying the post office is a good thing and that his office building that he plans to build will help the community. Tessa raises her hand to ask a question, but makes a statement instead. This was funny. Got some funny lines here. Tessa raises her hand, and Noah says, "Yes, question." She says, "The post office has been in the community since the 19th century. It used to be the heart of Oak Creek." And Noah says, "What's your question?" Tessa says, "I thought it was implied." That was funny. That was good back and forth banter they had there. She holds up a blank piece of paper and tells him she wrote to the National Registry of Historical Places To get the post office classified as a historical landmark, he says, "Let me see that." And she whips it behind her back and says, "Oh, it's just a blank piece of paper. It was only for effect." That was funny too. Darla, her friend, proposes that Tessa and Noah work together to come to an agreement. All the townsfolk agree, but Tessa and Noah do not like that idea. Man, they're not crazy about that. Brad finds this Santa mailbox in the post office with letters in it from 1992. Noah comes up with an idea and heads to the library to talk to Tessa. He shows her the Santa letters from the 90s and says, "Why don't we make some Christmas wishes come true?" She says, "You want to be Santa?" He says, "Well, we are forced to work together. You put the construction project on hold, so we may as well do something for the community." And she reluctantly agrees. Darla meets Brad in the library when he helps her fix a shelf. She looks over his shoulder and reads one of his text messages from a woman saying, "It's not working out. Take care. Have a good Christmas." She says, "Oh, that's rough." He says, "No big deal. Would have been nice to have someone to spend Christmas with, though." Tessa and Noah dig into the Santa letters. The first couple aren't asking for anything materialistic, just snow and to spend time with grandparents. But then they come across one that is asking for tickets to a hockey game. Noah says, "I can do this one. My company has season tickets." Tessa gives him a look, and you can tell that she is thinking, "Oh, okay. This guy is really not that bad. He's kind of sweet." I like in this scene here, I like how they have the kids, or I like how they have kids doing the voiceovers as they were reading the letter. So they're looking at the letters, and you hear this child doing this voiceover, reading the letter. I thought that was really good, rather than having the two of them read the letters in their own voices. And I had to include a couple screenshots here of the inside of this post office because I really like this set. I thought they did a good job. I thought it looked pretty cool. Next, we get a touching scene when Noah and Tessa deliver the hockey tickets to the guy who asked for them when he was a kid. He now has a son who doesn't want to spend time with him. He asks his son if he would like to go to the game. His son says, "Yeah, for sure." Brad is hanging out at the library again. He tells Darla he is not a reader. He is scouring the self-help section to get help with his dating life. Darla says that she is a speed reader, and they make a deal that she will speed read the books that he is interested in and give him the bullet points if he cleans the library for her. What is that all about? She's going to speed read the books and give him the bullet points. That's like reading the Cliff Notes, right? It might even be worse than reading the Cliff Notes. Brad finds an old picture in the post office, and he and Noah find out that Tessa's grandfather worked at the post office for 60 years. Back at the library, Darla says that was nice of Noah to give away those hockey tickets. Tessa says Noah is a nice guy, but he is still going to tear down the post office. Darla asks, "Have you told him yet?" Tessa says, "I don't want this to be about me. I want it to be about the community." Ooh, what are they talking about? We don't know at this point. But I think that it has something to do with the picture of her grandfather that Brad found. Noah shows Tessa the picture he found of her grandfather, and then she explains how close they were and that she used to skip school so that she could help him deliver letters on his postal route. Then we get a cute scene between Darla and Brad in the library. She is giving him tips on how to win over a woman's affection. She says, "Let's try compliments. Try one on me." He says, "I like it when your lips move when you read." Woo! She is blown away by that compliment. She is speechless. Then she makes him clean the bathroom. Yeah, after that compliment. The next letter Noah and Tessa read was written by Kim, the coffee shop Nazi. She wanted a trip to Florida to go to the theme parks. And it just so happens that Miles, her boyfriend, is stationed in Florida. So Noah gets her a flight and accommodations to visit him. Then she agrees to soften up and give Noah coffee. While reading more Santa letters and granting wishes, Noah asks Tessa if she has a boyfriend. She says no and asks him if he has a girl to shop for. He says, "Oh, yes, I have many. My grandmother, my mother, and 3 sisters." She gets a big smile on her face after that one. Tessa and Noah wrap the gifts that they bought for all the townsfolk. They realize they have way too many gifts to deliver, so they come up with an idea of having people come to the town hall to pick up the gifts. Darla convinces Brad that women like poetry, so he looks at her while he starts to write a poem. And this is what he writes: "Christmas joy in the air, but it's your smile that fills my heart with cheer. Christmas carols, the soundtrack of love, as we dash through the winter snow. Know my warm embrace awaits you under the mistletoe." Woo! And again, Darla is blown away. I think she's getting into Brad, let me tell you. Tessa is decorating the tree in the town hall, getting ready for the townsfolk to pick up their gifts. She tells Noah that she hasn't decorated a tree in years. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? She's the town historian. Doesn't she get a Christmas tree every year? I mean, come on, everybody does. Yeah, that line didn't make much sense to me. Darla shows up to the town hall and they give her her gift because they found one of her letters. And it's a collection of Jane Austen books. Then we get a montage of them handing out gifts to everyone in town. After they hand out the gifts, they realize they won't be seeing each other anymore. They have a sad moment, and Tessa says goodbye. Noah goes back to the post office and finds another letter written by Tessa in 1992. She asks Santa that she would like to ring the bell at the post office on Christmas Eve. Okay, so I was a little confused by what was going on here. They handed out all these gifts to everybody, and then Tessa said goodbye to Noah, said we won't be seeing each other. So I thought that they were finished opening all these letters. But then he goes back to the post office and there's still a stack of letters on his desk that they didn't open. I mean, what about those people? Didn't they plan on giving them any gifts? Yeah, that was confusing. Darla tells Tessa that she is falling for Noah. Tessa says, "No, I'm not. You've been spending too much time with Brad." Tessa says, "Noah and I are opposites. He's big city who likes progress and change. I'm small town who likes to keep things the way they are." Darla says, "Maybe you can come to a compromise, move forward with Noah's project, and restore the post office." Noah finds the bell from 1992 and tells Brad he wishes he and Tessa could come to an agreement with regards to this post office. Noah shows Tessa his plans for the renovation. He shows her that he plans to have all the post office memorabilia on display in the lobby of the office building that he is designing. Tessa opens the last Santa letter, and it is from a girl who wanted a karaoke machine and who wanted to sing on a stage in front of a crowd of people. Tessa says that she is now the local music teacher. Noah says, why don't we give her an open mic night at the cafe? Now, again, I was confused by what was going on here, too. Because like I said before, I thought they were finished doing all these Santa gifts. They handed them all out to everybody in an earlier scene. And then they said goodbye to each other. Said they weren't going to be seeing each other anymore. But now here they are together in the post office opening more letters. Well, anyway, the woman shows up to the cafe and sings, "Oh, Come All Ye Faithful." That was a nice moment. Good song there. Noah and Tessa share a dance, and then they go to a gazebo and share a kiss. They got a kiss here in the middle of the movie. Tessa gets an email from the National Registry telling her her position to get the post office declared a historical landmark has been denied because of a letter Noah wrote to them. She confronts Noah about the letter he wrote, He says, I wrote that before you and I got to know each other. She says, I promised my grandfather when I became historian that I would do everything I could to preserve the post office. Aha. Noah says that saving the post office is not going to bring your grandfather back. Oops. He realizes that he shouldn't have said that. He knew that was a mistake as soon as the words came out of his mouth. Tessa says, we are done here, and shows him the door. Noah tells Brad he is having second thoughts about tearing down the post office. After getting to know all the townsfolk, Brad tells him that he shouldn't tear down the post office. Darla tells Tessa that she needs to do away with the past and move forward with the future. Noah is sitting around the post office, looking at the bell that Tessa always wanted to ring, and comes up with an idea. So he starts drawing all over his office building plans. Back at the library, Darla tells Brad to forget these self-help books, that he is perfect just the way he is. Then she plants a kiss on him. Noah shows Tessa his new plans. He says he wants to keep the post office the way it is and connect his office building to the back of it. At least I think that's what his plan was. He says, I want to preserve the past while building a new future with you. He tells her to meet him at the post office later that night. So she shows up, and he shows her the bell and her letter to Santa that she wrote back in the 90s. She rings the bell and then rings Noah's bell with another kiss. Noah takes the Santa mailbox and puts it outside and says this tradition should continue. And so they are going to continue to play Santa happily ever after. Okay, that's the end. You know, this ringing the bell scene, the only person there to see her ring the bell was Noah. I think that he should have invited everyone in town to see her ring the bell, because that's what she wanted when she was a kid. She wanted to ring the bell at midnight on Christmas Eve in front of everybody with a crowd there. But she didn't get it. She rang the bell, but she didn't get her entire wish. Nobody saw her ring the bell. So let's chat about this. The synopsis for this movie did not do this movie justice. When I did my Great American Christmas preview episode with the Dono fans, they all said, oh, well, we've seen this story before. It's the guy from the big city is coming to town to shut down a small business. We've seen this so many times. This probably won't be very good, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I thought that Merritt and Christopher would do a good job together, and they did. But that synopsis left out all the Santa letters stuff. And that's what makes this movie shine. All these Santa letters and how they started buying gifts for everyone in town and granting their wishes that they had when they were a kid back in the 90s. That was the heart of this movie. So, the synopsis really left out that part of the movie. This movie has a good Christmas message, that it's better to give than to receive. Noah giving gifts to everyone in town and not asking for anything in return. I like that. Like I said, Merritt and Christopher, I thought that they were good together. I like that this was a double couple movie, and I really enjoyed the friendship between the four of them. I enjoyed the meet cute. I thought that was a good one, with at the town meeting with Tessa making a statement rather than asking a question when Noah asked if there were any questions. And I also liked how she was wearing that 19th century outfit. I thought that was pretty cool. Really enjoyed that. And I loved all the Christmas colors in this movie. Like I said before, the kids wearing all red and green, and Darla, they had her in red and green outfits throughout the entire movie. So I thought she looked really cute. Now, someone online said that the compromise at the end of this movie with this office building, they thought that was really lame. And yeah, it kind of was. Noah, one of the reasons he wanted to tear down this post office is because he said the post office was unsafe. So now what? He's got it connected. He's got his office building connected to the back of the post office. People are going to have to walk through an unsafe building to get to his $1 million office building. I don't know about that, unless he plans on spending a bunch of money to renovate the post office, which I'm sure his boss wouldn't be happy about that, because bosses don't like it when you spend more money than they wanted to spend to get a job done. So I don't know how that's going to fly. But overall, this is a good movie. This movie really gets you into the Christmas spirit with all the gift giving and all the Santa letters. And this movie has a lot of nostalgia to it, which I think is the reason people like it so much, because that part of the movie is really nice. Now, this movie is going up against A Christmas Castle Proposal in my Great American Christmas Movie Battle this week. You can put in your vote for which movie you like better on the socials. You can find me at InstaScam, YouTube, and Facebook at Great American Chat, and at X at GA Chat Podcast. Let me know which movie you liked. Right now, it's a really close heat. I think A Vintage Christmas might have one or two more votes than the Castle movie, but right now it is really close. I'm going to have to count the votes twice on this one. Now, this weekend we have Tales of Christmas, which stars Ash Sy and Eric. Oh boy, it's either Gilmet or Gilmay. I don't know how to pronounce it, but he plays an injured Army vet who recovers with help from shelter therapy dogs. Yeah, an injured Army vet who recovers with the help of shelter therapy dogs. Okay. And that premieres this Saturday at 8/7 Central on Great American Family. And while you're watching, you can always live post on X. This past weekend for the Castle movie, that movie was actually trending on X, and Rhiannon Fish, the star of the movie and the director, was live posting with everybody who was watching. So that was pretty fun. Unfortunately, this weekend I won't be able to live post on X while the movie is on, because I am going out of town. So I will have to catch the movie at a later time. So you enjoy the movie this weekend, and until we chat again, you keep the faith, keep smiling, keep your friends close, and keep your great American family closer. Thanks for being here.